Okay. Yes, family. Yes, thank you. Greetings, family, for another episode, another talk with Professor David Kelly. All right. We had a great response from the first video. So we thought we'd do another one, talk about certain issues going on in our communities, going on with the environment now, dealing with COVID, dealing with education, dealing with society and how we move, how we're moving differently, how things are acting differently. But good morning, Professor Kelly. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Feeling blessed. Hope all is well with you as well.
Indeed. Things are well. So again, family, if you're not familiar, we had a discussion previously about the Black and brown children in reference of education and rearing them to empower them in education, just the dynamics of finding your purpose, having access to resources and a certain skill set that will lead them to be marketable in the job industry, the career industry. And this topic today, in reference to with myself and Mr. Kelly, we want to talk about family, what that is, what are the different dynamics of family, why is it beneficial or maybe not beneficial in current day, and how the idea of family has changed or possibly changed, and really just the role it plays in society as a whole. And I know, Mr. Kelly, you and I have talked about this on numerous occasions, just like with the role of family, what that means, especially when we talk about Black men and women, African Americans. Could you kind of talk about that just in reference of, I know my family, I came from a two-parent home. I have an older sibling. And for us, family was really important, like especially for me being successful and me being able to function and thrive in society. That family structure was very key in my development. So could you talk about it?
Well, that's a blessing on your part. I'm glad you prefaced by saying that. I think it's important that you come from a stable, what we call a nuclear family. And, two-parent households are rarity in certain places. Even if you are part of a middle or upper or lower class population of people, two parents in a household is becoming a rarity. And that's because of a lot of things. But what we want to be talking about today is nuclear family primarily, because family structure looks a little different. You have two male parents, two female parents. So that can be an issue also. But what we're focusing on is the nuclear family, which is basically a heterosexual family, mom and dad primarily. And, and I'm pretty sure those other families have their time and space as well, and they're doing great things as well. When you look at the regular heterosexual mom and dad type of family, the problem you have here is the competing entities. The competing entities, be it work, be it personal development, be it any issues that may be going on with the partners and themselves, is usually the reason why we don't have a lot of nuclear families anymore. Usually women raising kids by themselves, or dad raising the kid, but choose to raise a kid, if not opt out. And that usually causes strife in the development of that child. The family itself is key to developing that child. But the key is if you don't have the parts to do it, therefore the child will be broken to some degree. And a good example would be if you have a young man. Let's say you have the young man who may have passed away because his mom. We were talking about the conversation about the 12-year-old, right?
Right, Chicago, right?
Single parent situation. If dad was in the household, he may have been able to derail some of that activity. And that's usually where the stability comes in. Because I've been married for many years, and I have a nuclear family going on with my wife and my kids and everybody. And some days or sometimes you're going to have to take different roles. Sometimes she may be upset, sometimes you may be upset. But the role is to be able to move that train in the way that it's supposed to be, so that the kids don't be harmed or hurt by whatever it is you're trying to do or get rid of. So it comes around when punishment is an issue. If a child did something wrong, how do you properly punish a child? Causing harm or hurt to that child that could be generational over a period of time, So that's a challenge in itself. But the family in itself is key to a constant growing process. There's another thing they talk about is family counseling. You ever heard that before?
I have heard that, family counseling. Yeah. It's a fairly new concept in general for a lot of people. But yeah, I have heard of that.
Yeah. So it's a family concept is basic. It's basic saying, because we all as an adult, someone you seek counseling because you choose, because whatever it is that's going on in your life.
Right.
But you don't talk about bringing the kids there, or the husband or the wife there. In this instance, they're coming into the family household. They're looking at the dynamics. They're having a conversation with the kids and everybody else. And at that point, it may look like maybe 60, 90, or 120 days. But what they're doing is they're putting together utensils or practices that they can use to help that family become whole. Domestic violence is a big issue in certain households.
Yeah.
Fiscal responsibility, religious issues, social decorum, all of those things, even responsible relationships. It's a problem in most relationships. So a therapist will come in and be able to have an open door policy and allow them to work those things out. And sometimes it can be worked out. In those cases, the cases that I read, they seem successful. Some people opt out of them because they didn't want the person in their business.
The counselor, they don't want the counselor in the family business.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get deep. You have to say things that's very uncomfortable, very personal.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna say that, or are you gonna just it is what it is. So
right.
So the counselor comes in, they have really deep conversations, but it's something to think about and to work on. You have to work on these things. And you know what? Being married for so many years. I think you would think that your wife, your life is perfect, or your husband and wife may be comfortable with whatever it is you're doing. It may not be to that person. That's the hard thing for most people to realize. You may be thinking you're doing the right thing, but the person around you, they don't see it that way. See it that way. They have a totally different, and all they've been doing with you is tolerating you.
Wow.
And that is tough. And that's the thing that most people. You need to vet out in a relationship. It ends in divorce in most cases. You find out, I'm tired of putting up with this. I'm not doing this anymore. But in most cases, you have to vet those things out. Things change. You're not the same person. You know what? I'm more interested in doing this, and I never really like it. I did it because you wanted to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you? And that's the thing. How do you navigate that? Because I think. Because these are two, even before the family started, there's two individuals coming together, and in family, we're talking about, again, heterosexual relationships, man, woman, boy, girl, whatever age, young or older, come together, and young man, young lady come together. And then it's like, okay, we're here at this stage in this moment or these years. But like you said, things change, people grow. So it's like, how do you begin to navigate so it won't be that regret or that some people animosity? I did this just to make you happy. Like, how do you work through that, or how do you not let it get to that phase of? The
experts say communication.
Yes,
but communication can be done in many different ways. That's what when I was listening to what they was talking about and reading about what they were talking about, they said, "Oh, you have to have communication, ongoing communication." But ongoing communication can look a whole lot different for different people.
Right. What is that?
And so, we can sit there and have a conversation, but some things cannot be expressed in conversation. Some things got to be expressed, be it physical, be it suggestive, or something of that nature. And therefore, you may have to communicate on those levels. Sometimes, as time goes on, you realize that you have to ask the question: are you comfortable with doing this? Are you comfortable with doing that? I realized later on in life is that when I had kids, you realize that all kids don't want the same thing to eat. Just like your husband and wife, like I'm going to a restaurant and there's nothing in here I can eat. But I'm sitting there with my wife saying, yeah, she likes this place. Like, I'm a vegetarian and my wife like going to these seafood places, right? I tell her all the time, I can't stand going to these seafood restaurants with you. I don't like seafood places. I don't like, I don't like any animal eating places.
Right.
But I have to tell her this, but is it something that destroys the relationship? Or is it something that, is just a little inconvenience? Historic, to me, it's just an inconvenience. Yeah, I do it because you want to do it, but technically I don't want to do it. And it's nothing major. It's just a restaurant. We're gonna leave. It's not like we're living here. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the idea is that's what I mean by communicating. I'm doing something because you want to do it, but I really don't want to do it. And she may feel the same way when it comes to, I take her to, let's say, a science project or working on a research talk or something like that. She sit there like, what are you talking about? This is boring. But I'm here because you want to be here. But it is what it is. You work things out,
Yeah.
And you have enough wherewithal to have that conversation. And some of those conversations are going to get sticky. Like, we do a lot of investment conversations. We have a lot of investment conversations. And we even have a lot of talk about afterlife conversations. Like, how are we planning for life after life? You know what I'm saying? Or your legacy. And those are very difficult conversations to have with your partners, because they may want to do some other thing other than what you may want to do. And that conversation can get ugly if you don't plan properly. And go on with an open mind. Because I think part of the conversation is this: if you have something to say or you have an opinion, please vet out your opinion. Do the research that supports what you think. Make sure that it is cogent, it is understandable, so that when I ask you questions, you have an answer for me. Don't just say, I just think and I'm thinking about, because that's going to make people upset. You have an idea, but you haven't vetted it out.
Yeah.
You haven't really thought about it or looked to other options, and that creates entities and problems, and eventually it can blow up in an argument and resentment. So I try to make sure that I do all of my base work before presenting the problem to an individual. And sometimes you have to have the wherewithal not to bring it up. Some things can't be changed. So you're like, listen, I can't change this, so let me not make this an issue. And you learn later on in life that you just being quiet and follow whatever needs to be followed, and don't bring it up because this person can't change.
You mean like a characteristic or
it could be a characteristic. It could be anything. Like, I mean, what can a person may not be able to change their the way they talk or the way they laugh.
That's right. Yeah.
Little things that could set you off, man. Little things that you would only know if you're in a relationship. That can set a person off. But sometimes you're just going to be like, I'm not around. But let it go. And you learn to live with it. You recognize it, but you don't talk about it. You don't say anything about it. It's just like, I'll just move on.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes detrimental to the relationship or that person's in lieu of someone else. Like if your husband or wife can't speak too well, but yet they're putting themselves out there to be the mouthpiece of whatever it is, and they speaking terribly.
Right.
Hold on, come back here. You're going to be hooked on phonics. Come here. You're not adding up properly.
Right. This is a good representation. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That makes sense because when we talk about these concepts, like people are like, well, what is it? Because it seems like people are having a harder time, especially African Americans, and of course for justifiable reasons, environmental reasons, political reasons, and so also economical reasons, that it seems like it's becoming more difficult to have families or to create that nuclear family structure as we're talking about. And I'm like, why is that happening now? Like it's not just start happening. It's been like a slow roll up to now, up to current day. But it seems like people like myself and the generations behind me are having a more difficult time starting families or the purpose of why they even need to have a family.
Because people want what they want when they want it, and that's the problem. You want a certain type of person. Let's say you want a certain type of female, right? You want a certain type of female that's going to do exactly what you want her to do, what you want her to do for you when you want to have it done. Right? You also may want it to be done without you even saying it. Just do it, because it becomes more protocol as opposed to saying a request, right? So you're doing this. This is a relationship issue. Then on the flip side of her, she's saying, listen, I want you to do exactly what I want you to do. But guess what? I want you to do all of the work. And I don't want you to ask me to help you. Just do all of it. And I just want to come in and just chill. My whole relationship with you is about chill. I don't want to do no work. You know what I'm saying? So the attitude is if you have predispositions and she have predispositions coming into a relationship, what is the problem? Is that relationship going to work? It's not, because I'm not coming in here going to do I'm not going to do anything with this. Are you, as a lot of the research scientists say, money is usually the cause of divorce or some kind of separation.
Right.
But you're not even in a relationship and the person is looking at money. You're not even in a race. How much do you make? Where do you work? Or you have your own business? Where's your investments? This is all on the first or second date. You may even, you may have not gotten physical, and the person may be beautiful, but you doing all your vetting because you know exactly what you're looking for. So if all of those bells check out properly, then all right, fine. I may even pursue this relationship. But even then, you're going to have requirements. I don't cook, right? You don't cook. I don't clean either. I don't cook. I don't clean. And I think we should get a maid to do that because you have enough money to cover that. Now, how do you feel about that? Like, whoa, hold up. I can't have my wife. I want you to raise my kids. I need you to cook and clean. And I give you options of either being home or if not going to work. It's up to you if you want to do that. Those are the issues that we have in this new generation because a lot of people's lives are public. You can go online and you can find a lot of stuff about a person, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. There's a lot of information on there that shouldn't be on there, And your information about who you are and what you're about can expose you to prejudgment. So the person's going to prejudge you well in advance. I think the thing you talk about often is that they try to get the TV character. I noticed that you always talk about, they want the TV image as opposed to the reality image. And that could be it. You're looking at, life is being mimicked online or on television. That's not life. Life happens in person.
Yeah.
So you're right. They have these predispositions that prevents them from making real relationships, And, there's a lot of people out there who makes money on this conversation. There are a lot of therapists out there trying to get these women, especially Black women, to get married. I think it was like 75% of Black women that don't get married. That was crazy when I heard that.
Yeah.
What? 75% of Black women don't marry? And then I'm looking around like, yo, let me see these Black women that I went to school with, I grew up with. And I'm saying those numbers are higher than that. It's higher than 75%.
Yeah, that's
circle. It's looking like 85%.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. But ironically, but most of the guys I went to college with, 95% of us are married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Because again, the stereotype is that men, especially Black men, do not want to get married. They're good with having sexual relations with someone or even maybe like a fling type relationships, but not marriage.
In my professional organizations, 100% of us is married.
Wow.
All of us. And all of us, when I meet, like when I do my fraternity thing or anytime we come together, 100% of these men are married and have been married. We're a little older now and have been married for many, many years and have adult kids.
Wow.
So you're right. The problem is not so much men. The problem is that women are not finding availability that is basically helping them out. So those numbers are kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is. And I know that, even, for myself and some of my peers, like there definitely some of my peers who are married and like have families, children, still married, no divorces per se for most of my peers. But again, when I talk to them, it seems like they really met someone, like you said, that they communicate properly, or they've learned to start communicating properly. Like compromise. I hear a lot about compromise in the right way, and I want to go back to this too, the whole compromising and judgment thing. One, compromising, like in what ways? Because some people say, well, what do I compromise? And I think you mentioned it earlier in reference, like the small things, the things like, okay, that's trivial. I can get over that. But what about as far as like the prejudging and vetting? When you talk about creating a family, someone to create a family unit with, nuclear family with, like, because people say, don't judge. And then some people say, no, you need to judge. You need to judge in a right way, though.
Yeah, but the key is this: a lot of us come in with preconceived ideas. You're marrying a woman because she looked good. She got a nice body. She got a pretty face and all this other stuff. That's great. We want that. That's just as important as having a personality.
Yeah.
But ideally, that is not the way. That's not what you're going to weigh your decisions on. Just because you got a pretty face and a nice body, and you got a appear to be nice personality,
right?
That's not enough. I need to see you in action. I need to run this car for a test, and I need to run this car for a test on rough terrain, smooth terrain, hot. That's how you make your determination. And then what you do is you make a relationship built on who you are personally. Does this person match your personality? You know, because sometimes you can get with people, you're jive, but the person doesn't react to you personally. And mind you, before I got married, I was in a lot of relationships before I got married. And I had the unique opportunity to talk to older guys who was already married. And I think I expressed that to you in the past. And they was basically went to the steps. They went through, this is the process of going through it. You date many. Learn the energies of females, because females have a certain level of energy that men tend to overlook. We tend to overlook those energies. But once you figure out that energy in that female, and then you start to realize that energy is pervasive throughout the female species, and then you're able to make a decision based on, is she going to allow you to lead a relationship, or are you going to be a partner? Most men think that a relationship is built on a partnership. It's not. It's built on leadership, yes. It's built on leadership. Your relationship with your wife is a leadership relationship. She's going to come to you for advice and for understanding. The same one to you. Now she's going to give you advice too, but it's always going to be sexism going on. Sexism going on. We have these roles,
Yeah.
And if you don't play your role properly, it's going to be a problem. So I remember one time I had a friend who was he was trying to do some stuff with the roof leaking in his house, and it was a holiday.
Yeah.
His wife was upset. Oh, couldn't you do anything to fix or patch it? She had to literally give me a call. You talking about really unhousing the dude?
Wow.
She was like, can you come over here, please? Because he can't do this. I'm like, whoa. Dang. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, some people won't get that, but I totally understand what you're saying.
I got it as soon as she called me.
Yeah.
I got it because I have known this dude all my life.
Yeah.
And then your wife called me out of nowhere. Listen, I'm tired of this. Can you come here, please? We got blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa. And the first comment, before I even left my home, I'm calling him like, what's going on?
Right.
What's going on? Because I'm not coming to your house without your clearance, dude. I need to know where you at and what you doing in your mindset before your wife calling me to tell me to help you make a repair that you can make yourself. You follow me? You see the leadership that goes along with that?
Yeah.
So it's a simple situation, but it's enough to make a person realize that I can unhouse you and take you out of your role if I have to. You understand? And if you tend to lose respect for an individual if that happens over and over again. Men never lose respect for females. Only time we lose respect for females is we defile the sanctity of that relationship. That's when we defile you, because we don't require anything of you. We don't want you to, pick up garbage.
Right.
We don't want you to shovel a hole and fix the light bulb. We don't want you to do anything. All we want you to do, and even if you don't know how to cook well, learn how to read the ingredients and do it better next time. We don't.
Right.
We expect you to get it better.
Yeah.
We women come with a lot of expectations. And if you can't do the simple things, that it becomes an issue of, hey, I'm not feeling you on that level. Why have to ask someone else to do me a favor when you should be able to do it for me? That's a powerful situation to tell your mate.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, that's a good man.
Yeah, it will literally unhouse. You got to remember, most men, we build our relationship on allegiance. Don't you ever go against what I say or do and share our issues with the public or private.
Right. It's that respect thing.
Oh, yes. And the worst thing you can do is tell a person outside of the sanctity of your relationship what's going on. And women do it all the time. They get their little girlfriends and they have their little girlfriends. But I make a point. I said, listen, you can talk to anything about whatever you want, but just don't ever bring your husband up in your conversation. That relationship is always to be held to your heart, never to be expressed to no one but myself, and even your mother or your sister. It is to be me, and we are to handle anything that comes up between us. And that's what hurts relationships between male and female. starts to break that allegiance, and she go behind your back and do something or say something, we would never recover from that. A real dude would never recover from that.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely agree with you on that, because a lot of men worry about that as far as them
Yeah.
committed relationships, because people have had like these kind of fling type of things,
Yeah.
but like truly committed relationship where we're trying to really build something for the long haul, for the longevity.
Yeah.
Men worry about that in general, about their woman going back and telling certain business. Women do worry about it too, certain attributes as well, but typically men worry about their women going back and telling their girlfriends or their circle of influence the intimate situations about their relationship, and that's a no-no.
It can, yeah, and it can even be a power situation also. Let me tell you what he's doing. Let me tell you, like, hold up, why is this? I mean, if you're sitting down and all of a sudden your wife's girlfriend sit there and ask you a personal question that only your wife should know, why does she know that information? It could be something simple like, "How was your mother doing? I heard she was sick." You know what I'm saying? How do you
Yeah.
know that? How do you know that? Who gave you that information? Thank you for your concern, but hey, you don't need to know that. And then the first thing you do is listen. You're talking way too much. Women talk too much and they do too little. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like children. You know how kids get around, little girls get around, they start talking, hey, and it's almost like a childish relationship, just talking just to be talking. You got to remember what you're saying is key, because it can also be used for her to get back at you at some point in time. Because women, I mean, I never think that women are considered allies of each other. I don't see them as being allies. I see them as being competition between each other. I always sense that.
And right, because two things I want to go into, right, like typically I guess what may be their potential fears, or not even fears, or maybe contention is with us in a relationship, but also this whole thing of women versus women thing, like the whole competition, like the whole one up.
Yeah.
And I sense that in a lot of women that I've met, not all of them, but a significant amount, like it's always kind of got like a little one up thing.
Yeah, it's like family too. Mommy's upset with daughter because daughter's doing better than mommy. There's resentment, I think. And this is just my perspective. I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong.
Right.
But the reality is I sense that there was always a level of competition between even good friends, women who may be considered good friends. And you see it in the early stages of their life when they're still active, not retirement, but active between under the age of 65 and above the age of adulthood, whatever it may be. So they're competing. Who got married? Who got a better husband? Who got a better house? Who got better kids? Who kids are doing what? Little things that are not important to the masses. But for them, it's like one up, one out, one up, one out. Who took the better picture on vacation? Things that are retarded, but for them, it's important. And then you have to sit there and listen to that conversation. And act as if like, why am I listening to this? But to them, it's important. You know what I'm saying? And your role is to actually, as a man, behave yourself and don't embarrass her. That's what it comes down to. Don't embarrass your wife. Don't embarrass your girlfriend. Hold up. It is the mere fact that you have a title of a girlfriend is embarrassing. Don't you know that?
Wow.
You've been dating dude for, I think if you're dating a person over 24 months and they still refer to you as a boyfriend, girlfriend, then that relationship is done.
Wow. I've heard similar ideas. Yeah. And why you said it? Because people think, because we don't know how to do relationships, or we don't know the protocol, so-called protocol, or the advancement of going into the next phase of relationship. Why is that? Because like I've heard certain people say that
because it's not a working relationship. It's
a
relationship based on need. It's not a working relationship. And then a working relationship requires you to get a title, a title in this position, and you have a full, it's like almost you have, some kind of investment in this relationship. So I give you a title, I give you all of these requirements because you're a partner now, In that situation, you are never going to be a partner, And if a dude is sitting here hanging out with girl for all these years and never decided to marry her, but yet he even have kids with her. That's even worse.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
a whole
I
another
mean,
scenario
you
there.
get, pregnancies happen.
Yeah.
Practice can also result in a pregnancy. You practicing every weekend, or you have to, and eventually you may have a child. But at some point, you're gonna have to call it what it is. You know, is it something that is there something that you're not doing or she's not doing that's preventing you from marrying? Because marriage is business. Marriage is a business. It's a business of opportunity. You know, it's not built on I love you, I care for you, I kiss you. No, it's built on responsibility. And once you enter into that union, you realize that the benefits are required that you grow that relationship. A marriage that does not grow is a marriage I think it's going to die.
I've heard
Because
that
what's
too.
going to happen is that all life is going to catch up. And if you're not moving, it's going to catch up on you. It's like a good example of saying, let's say you rent an apartment, right? You rent the apartment, it may have been $1,500 a month. And if you get comfortable, that rent is going to go up and up and up and up, and there's going to change ownerships and everything else.
Right.
Before you know it, that rent is now $2,500. What happened? What did you not do to prevent that from happening? What you should have done as soon as you moved in was planning your next move.
Right.
You know, how can I plan my next move? Where can I plan so that this thing doesn't catch up to me? And then that's what you do. That's what a relationship is all about. You always plan in the next move. And then you have a partner or a female who with you helping you move it to the next level. But if you in that relationship just chilling like, hey, it's come when it comes. I deal with it, you know? And then situation happens, and before you know it, you behind the 8 ball. And there's other things also. Infidelity is another thing.
Yeah.
I think women take infidelity as being an issue in a relationship more so than a cry out for insecurity, you know? For example, with men, when we cheat, we're cheating for reasons of we can, and not a cheating for the reasons of I want to replace you.
Right. Yeah.
Most women struggle with that concept. According to the psychologists, the attitude, the reason why it's like equivalent to a man going out playing basketball with his buddies on the weekend or playing football or going. He's not going to come back and tell you how many points he scored and how many rebounds he got. It's just, I just went out for a little exercise and I'm back.
Right.
Is it anything to talk about? Is it anything to write a book about? No.
No.
And that's what recreational sex to young men looks like. Going out, they pick up the girl and they drop off on the next corner and he keep going. And that's a part of his development. But that young man don't need to be in a relationship and he don't need to be married. What he needs to be doing is continuing to learn women energy. Nothing wrong with having a lot of women. Nothing wrong with having sexual intercourse with a lot of women. But the problem is that you don't put them in a situation where you're going to be permanent with them and still doing that. It tells me that you have some unresolved issues in your life. And that's why you're bouncing around from women to women to women. You know? You do that when you're young. When we're young, we do that.
Yeah.
That you have commitment. It's recreational. So if let's say they in a relationship and he decides to stumble up and still continue that behavior, and the lady says, "I'm leaving you because you're cheating on me." You're not leaving. She's not leaving you because you're cheating on her. You leaving because the relationship is not working. It's not a working relationship.
Wow.
It's not building. And that was just the reason for you to get the hell out the relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with the cheating. The cheating was a side activity. And that's usually the case. You know, if I'm not building with you, then I'm building with somebody else. That's how men operate, you know? And then you get a situation where a man could have technically be with someone for like 6 or 7 years, right?
Right.
And out of nowhere, he meets somebody. He married this lady within a year. Start up a whole new family. He could be with her for all these years out of college, no kids, no nothing, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, he meet this person. They have kids. They're happy. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's a working relationship. It was about building and moving forward. It had nothing to do with this stagnant relationship. So you know, I don't know. You gotta be careful about that. You know.
True. That's true. I mean, everything you talk about, like it's some of that is a hard pill to swallow. Like I said, the concept from both men and women's side of things. And not saying it's right. It's just saying that that's what's been happening. That's what's been occurring up to this point. And again, when it goes back to, again, like relationships, we're not even taught how to do relationships properly. And I don't think for most of us, especially speaking people of color, that we even know what our purpose is. Like, we don't even know what the even purpose of ourselves are, not alone getting with somebody else and being able to lead them or be able to guide each other toward a common goal. It's like, it's becoming, like you said, it's becoming less and less about togetherness and more about individualism. I want this, I need that, and I'm not going to settle. Like, again, the whole settle per se. I'm not going to settle, or I want what I want when I want it, you know?
Yeah. But the idea is that they come into a relationship with preconceived ideas, you know, and, oh, he looked good, he have this, he have that. If you make your relationship is based on the physical, then you don't have a relationship. You have a good friend that you may have good relationships with every now and then, but that's not a relationship. A relationship is built on something more than just that. You know, it's like when I used to be dating back in the day, I used to meet some women, right? Some I met, we just had a great conversation. You know, we just used to talk, and I, randomly get conversations. So a conversation with the average person would be like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But with this particular lady you talk to, it may be like an hour. You may not think that's not your wife. That's not your girl. That's just a great person to talk to. And you may not even be sexually attracted to them. Or you may be. It doesn't matter. Sexual attraction usually something that kind of precludes the situation. It kind of throws you off a little bit. Sometimes sexual attraction is not what you really want your lady to be. If you're looking for a lady, you want someone to just have the basics. She don't gotta have a big butt. A flat butt is fine. She doesn't have to have big breasts. Little to no breast is fine. You know, she can have an average face. Average face is cool, because you have to remember, women reinvent themselves like men reinvent themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's all of that. All those assets are important, but they're not important. So you got this real thin lady who's maybe a 90 pounds, 100 pounds. She's maybe a B-looking chick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's your girl. That's your girl, because in essence, you can emote to her or with her on different levels. That emotion is key, because that's what gets you to build. Because in order for you to build in a relationship, someone got to appeal to you emotionally. And if you can get me emotionally, then you can get me to do things physically. And my wife have a great ability to do that. She sit down and she'll look at you and like stare you in the face like, what the heck did I do now? She said, this and this need to be. I know you're thinking about it too, because if I'm thinking about it, you're thinking about it.
Right.
Because you can feel the energy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then once she tells me that, and then the first thing that come out of my mouth is, you know what, I've been doing the same shit. I've been thinking about it as well. Because you can't be in the same company of people, seeing the same thing and not knowing that need to be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in the middle of an acquisition right now, right? So I'm assuming all the responsibility to her to free her up for this acquisition.
Yeah.
And we're like in a low place. So we got to sit back and chill and wait till things happen. As soon as one thing happened, she expect me to do immediately as she would do. You know, like a contract came in. I was like, yo, did you read the contract? Oh, you know damn well I read that contract. I read it on the email. But she may have a physical, she came in with a physical copy. Did you read this? I'm like, yo, I already read it. And her attitude is, did you really read it? Because it said, I'm like, all right. I missed that, but I knew it was talking about taxes.
Right.
I missed the details, but I knew exactly what they was talking about, because I read it online. You know what I'm saying? The fact is that's the relationship what it means by working. Because you picking up on the little things that the person's not picking up on. And that have nothing to do with love and sexiness and beauty, have everything to do with responsibility. And once you have become responsible, it becomes a way of the relationship. You know, and that's what helps a lady legitimize herself. Because you got to remember, the worst thing a woman can do is grow old and never have a legacy, just like a man. When my mother was living, right? To have these big Thanksgiving parties, right? And he used to take these pictures, right? And these pictures used to be like voluminous, the whole family, like poof. Yeah. I still look at it to this day because it gives me memories, like my brothers want to post these old pictures up. but it had like a legacy all behind us, aunts, uncle, everybody there, right? Cousins, we all in this picture. And then my mother is sitting dead center. My father was dead. My mother's sitting dead center, and this is all of her creation. That's what every woman wants. And I mean, who can? I know a man can't get that kind of attention.
Yeah.
I'm a man, and I got all these kids. They ain't gonna come around for me for that. But for grandma and great grandma, they will come around for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I think all women want to some degree. They want that legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we deserve that also, because if they win, we on their back. Because grandma and granddad together, they win. We all win. And then if they're together, it sends a message to the family like, yo, we're a group. We're a system here. We trying to move a system. And if you do something wrong, I need you to get back on track and get it right. There's nothing wrong with being wrong, but get back on track. Because what you can do for us, it benefits the us as a unit. Not just you, it's us who benefits. Yeah. It goes back to what I was talking to you about before, the American concept of individuality. That's a poor version in life. Everything we should do should be like, how could we benefit from it? You don't do something just for you to benefit. You benefit for us, because us benefit meaning that we all now have ability to grow. It's like saying you got a good friend you grew up with, but if he's living in he's broke and poor, but you're wealthy, how comfortable are you talking to your friend?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna build together, educated together, and move on together. How comfortable are you talking to your friend now? It's a different relationship.
Definitely different relationship.
So,
yeah, definitely.
That's a long version of a relationship with a female, but females are on that level. I think to some degree, the absence of mom, a real mom, is really the reason why most women are in their situation right now, not marrying. You know, it's almost. I feel almost embarrassed. You know, I feel almost embarrassed because you have a lot of the young guys I deal with. They're all. I say 50 to 60% of them is in non-black relationships. They're non-black relationships. They're usually mixed race. Most of them are in mixed race. Most of them are European, Asian, and they're not looking at them. They're not looking at black women.
Wow. See, that's why I have an issue. Is like, you can date who you want. That's your preference. I have my preferences. You have it. But when you're not looking at your own ethnicity at all, that's when I have a direct problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you have to remember, the competition has always been for progressive black male. The regular black dude is never a problem to get. He's in the hood. He's around. The
right.
Guy who's just low achieving. That's who we make out there. Oh, black guys and because that's the type of people. But that regular progressive dude, you're never going to see him.
Yeah, he's moving.
Never around.
Right. He's not standing still.
You won't see him in the hood. If he live in the hood, he's in and out.
Yeah.
And eventually he's going to move out. So you're never going to get exposed to that dude. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to be in a circle with other progressiveness, especially if he's a part of an organization or a system. He's going to move in that group. He's going to be exposed to certain type of women of certain echelon, and that echelon will speak of etiquette, education, social dynamics, attitude, belief. All of that stuff is going to come into play. And in essence, he's going to make his choice based on his newfound family, a newfound association. And that's when he will start to make a move. He will start to look at the mirror image of who he wants to be, and this is why they tend to move. I see it with my students every year. They come in as freshmen. I see them as graduate students.
Yeah.
They're done. They're done. They came in one way, they leave in another way. But the key is that their human capital that they're meeting, the people they're meeting, change them from that.
Yeah.
And usually the change starts mental. It's not physical. Because physically you could still be there, but the changes happen when you get internships.
Yep.
When you start meeting people who may be a year or two ahead of you and they talking to you a certain way, and it's like, wow,
right.
It's a different story.
I need to get my game up, my
Yeah,
skills
yeah.
up. Yeah, it's like because you really see who you're competing, especially with men. You see who you really competing against. If you want to look at it that way, you really see what it takes to get to another level, another stage. And it's like, oh, if this is a template to get to be at this next stage, I need to go back and do some more research. I need to go back and get some more skills.
Yeah, but with looking at male and female relationships, females don't have a problem making that transition. I think our Black women do a wonderful job at adjusting.
I agree. I agree.
They don't struggle with that. Men have a problem with the adjustment. Because once we make the adjustment, we're never looking back. I want what I want, and I want it this way. And I'm not going to settle for anything other than that. That's how men operate. And usually when you get certain levels of education or life accomplishments, you're going to demand that. Even if it means going out of your racial, ethnic, or cultural group, you're going to demand that.
Wow.
And I see it all the time. And it's usually the guys who got married north of 30 will not marry someone who's Black.
Wow.
If you marry someone north of 30 and you're successful and progressive, she won't be. If she may be a mulatto, mixed race, something like that. But you're not going to marry someone. It becomes, especially if you're a high earner. You gotta hope she has, she a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but she ain't gonna be traditional. She's not gonna be the hood. She's not gonna be that way. And it's rarely do you find people like that.
And do you think that's because north of 30, past 30, it's more of like you're getting more I don't even like term settled in, but you're getting more solidified in your beliefs, values, way you move, what you want.
Yeah, and that's it's ironic because that's one of the questions that I used to pose when I was coming up, a young guy talking to old guys. Their question was this: is that you got to get married before you're 30? And I'm like, why? He said the reason why you do it because by the time you get up there, you're gonna start making money. You're gonna start traveling the world. You're gonna start meeting people of different backgrounds and echelons, and it's not gonna be reflective of who you was.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and the fact is, you're gonna start marrying for options as opposed to love and respect. So marry when you broke. Get the girl when you're broke, and you don't have nothing to offer other than a hope and a dream. You're both are broken, and together you're build. You got the right thing. And most people don't sit there and tell you that. You don't marry someone when you got your pockets together. You marry when your pockets are not, and both of your pockets are coming together.
Because y'all built together. That's
yeah. And then when you have to, if something happens, let's say kids or grandkids or something, you're comfortable because your legacy is in your wife. It's in your kids. It's in your grandkids. That's your legacy.
Yeah.
You don't have, that's what you created. And if you can keep it with one woman, I recommend most people, if you keep it with one woman, you're great.
Yeah.
If you have to spread yourself thin like that, that's going to be a problem. But traditionally, young men who's in that progressive line, they don't get divorced neither. They don't get divorced, especially if they're successful. They may have some problems with cheating every now and then, but they get back on track.
You saw this the past 30 or the pre-30?
The pre-30.
Oh, the pre-30s, okay.
The past 30 is going to have problems too, but the key is that their attitude is that they tend to marry someone of equal ilk. I have a lot of friends that I deal with who married after 30. And they're still married 20 some odd years later doing the same thing. But the idea is that they marry someone on their same level.
Yeah.
And they both was accomplished. As opposed to marry someone when you under 30, what's going to happen is you're going to come in broke and you're going to build. And either way, I think is great. It's up to you.
Yeah.
It's just that if all those other things work out, it works out. But I think what we need to start teaching our kids is don't make our decisions based on how a lady look.
Yeah. Women too are falling to this category now too, with a lot of post 30, even really post 30. Women are looking at men, and I get it because we're all appealing to the eye. We like visual attraction, but it's just like men and women we getting caught in this Hollywood stuff too much.
Yeah, because if you make it's like usually the best looking lady in the room is usually the worst looking lady. Is the worst lady. You know how that is.
I definitely know how that is. I know that from experience.
And then you look at her, and then you finally get with her. You realize that is not the way to go.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not. You know, it hasn't been every time, but it's been enough times where it's like, oh, you know, she presented herself well, and I didn't even date her, but I just start talking to her, and I'm just like, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
It can happen at a strip club.
Yeah,
it can happen. Yeah. It's usually the finest sister at the strip club. You get with her in the strip club, and you realize it's not what you thought it would be.
The fancy, right?
What you see is not what you're gonna get.
Yeah, right.
And it's usually the person who's not attractive is the one that gives you the best go around because it forces you to build.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
But you know, like anything else, you deserve a beautiful, loving person who has all the attraction that keeps you interested. But you know, it is what it is. You can't, you know, my attitude is this: if you're going strictly on looks, you got a problem, dude. You got a problem. Don't ever marry someone because they look good, or hang out or date someone because they look good.
Yeah.
You know, the women, their beauty is fleeting. They're beautiful today. Off the makeup and the wig. Oh my gosh. If you got on makeup and wigs and eyeliner, I think those are the two things, and earrings do too, right?
Oh goodness, man. These eyelashes, Mr. Kelly, man. These eyelashes are ridiculous, brother. Like they just out here. They extend all the way to like, you know, Harlem and Brooklyn. They just
Yeah, but listen, I think eyeliner is worse, man.
Yo, man.
Eyeliner is the biggest way to fool a person is put on eyeliner.
Wow.
Because if a lady put on eyeliner, it changes her whole look. You ever notice that?
That's true. Them eyes are man.
Eyeliner is key.
Yeah.
You know? And then if she got a good makeup joint going on, like a little good little piece, it'll fool us, man. It will fool us. You know?
Yeah. What did Chris Rock say? You know, you wearing heels, you're not that tall. You know, you wear the wig, get your hair.
But that's where the vetting comes in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You meet a lady, are you really 5'6", 5'7"? You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't lie about your weight, you know, but she's like 100 pounds, 110 pounds. You be like, you 5'6", 5'7", you 110 pounds. You start checking off those boxes. Boom, boom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you got real hair? Yeah, this is my real hair. Okay. You don't sound retarded. This is what you do.
Yeah, in fact, this is what we do without saying it out loud. But right, men and women do this. We do this.
Yeah, you say, yo, you got no makeup on? Whoa! I'll give you a big check for that. No makeup? Wow. How do you look in regular clothes? And you got like wet. You like that's a winner.
Yeah,
that is truly a winner, man. You want to, if you can. That's what I think that you know, young people are doing. Young people see that stuff. You see the fake behinds and the fake. I mean, it's a shame. I was at a gym today, and the lady was in there with a fake behind, right? Look, and nobody's looking at her.
Wow. Dang. Well.
I said, somebody, she spent all this money on that and ain't nobody checking her out. I mean, how obvious can it be that you're lying?
and you spend money on it. And you alter the body for it. And that's,
you know?
dang.
Well, that's it. I hope I answered your question. Did I answer your question, buddy?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. One last question I would say is in reference of the role of a family and starting a family, where should someone, I guess, start? You know, in reference of if they're college age or coming out of college like a young professional, what is, I guess, one key, you know, takeaway in reference of the importance of a family and starting a family?
Okay, I think all families should be started anytime. You know, you got people who maybe you're talking about a regular heterosexual nuclear family for the
right. Regular.
You're talking about I think, you know, while we're in college, it's kind of tough. You know, I don't know if people want to start dating in college because it can have an effect on your grades or your GPA. But if you do, you're lucky because most people who get married usually meet their partners in college at some point, either college or grad school, something like that. So, but if you do that, it's a good start. And it's great that you know yourself. You know, you're not acting outside of your character. You're not trying to be something that you're not. If you're corny or you're a nerd or you're whatever it is, be that person. Be as
Mm-hmm.
about who you are as possible. And guess what? Like I tell most people, the world got a place for you. If you're not a good person, or you're a good person, or you're an average person, the world will accept you. You know, just be honest about who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're honest, the type of people that's going to come to you is going to be reflective of your honesty. You know, don't try to be more than what you are. And as you see that with people when they put on makeup and hair and eyeliners and fake butts and fake breasts, you know,
Yeah.
they're not
Fake.
being honest, and they get upset because they're getting attention from people who they don't want attention from.
Right.
But what are you doing that's preventing me from seeing you?
Uh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You want everything for me to see you. So, in essence, be honest. Number one, once you're honest and upfront about who you are as a person, be willing to grow. Then be willing to grow. Willing to grow means that yeah, I'm doing this, but I have a growth mindset. And the
Yeah.
growth mindset is always going to be someone who's always going to be willing to, let's say, change the parameter or dynamics of their life. I'm in college. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working this little cheesy $20 an hour job and it's killing me, right? But what
Right.
my growth mindset is that? My growth mindset is that at some point, I want to go finish up this. And I got
Mm-hmm.
it on my timer, my 30 day or my 40 day or my 50. Most people do like 3 year plans. I like to do a 30-day plan. What are you doing in 30 days?
Wow.
You know, so
Yeah.
you plan it in 30 days. This is what you're going to be doing, and that's steps that you should take to move you to the one place. Now, should it be a relationship? I don't know. Sometimes you don't need a relationship. Some people can operate well without a relationship for a
Hmm.
certain time. You know, some people,
Yeah.
like I said, if I'm 22, 23 years old, you may just want to keep running. Just hitting and run. I want to hit and run. I don't want to be in a full time relationship, but that's what some kids do.
Yeah, they do.
So they're hitting and running and they doing all their own thing, but at the same time, they're building their personal wealth or whatever it may be. They're building education, whatever it may be. So they're
Mm-hmm.
constantly building and they just hanging out with people for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, they may meet somebody who are willing to build with them as well. But you got to remember, the more you build, the more suspicious a person becomes to you. You can't
Hmm.
let a person know what you're doing. You know, anonymity can breed honesty. You know, because if you don't know me and I don't know you, I don't know what you're about, you're going to be honest with me. You have no prejudgment. But if I come here saying, "Oh, I'm a $50 million man. I'm from the great HBO and all that," you know, the people want to make all the judgments and all the act just like he want me to act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by being honest and open and keeping yourself open to the ideas, but don't share too much that's going to cause some problems,
Mm-hmm.
then you make a decision as you move forward. You know, and you don't get involved with people who don't have as much to lose as you. You know,
Yeah.
so if you're a college graduate, you don't marry someone with a high school diploma or GED or no education at all, because that's going to eventually be a problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
You won't go to college. If I went to college, you should wait to go to college. There's
Mm-hmm.
no deficits in any social accomplishments, you know, because that
Right.
breed resentment in itself. Oh, you went to college, but I didn't. You know how to read, but I can't.
Yeah, that's that's not gonna work.
But
Yeah,
there
that's
should be no
not,
resentment. If she gonna do, you should go to college. You know, vice versa. It doesn't matter,
not
right? And then
mm-hmm.
where you meet people is key. Where you meet people, you don't meet people in the hood or at a party or at a club. I met
Mm-hmm.
you at a club. I mean, are you serious? You met me at a party, at a club. You met me doing something that was not desirable.
Right.
You park, smoking a blunt, and calling my friends about a fire hydrant, causing some traffic jam. That's how you met me. Are you really? That's what it is, you know. And then you upset because the guy had 3 baby mamas and he want to make you the 4th baby mama. You know about you know what I'm saying? So
Wow. Yeah. Now let me throw this in there just at the end. What if it's, of course, we're talking about people who stay at that mindset if they have a GED or if they don't have just a high school diploma, but they stay there and don't grow from there. But what about the people who've met men and women at professional gatherings and then they ended up not being who they thought, I guess, quote unquote, thought they were?
well, you have to do the vetting. You have to vet it out.
Yeah.
You know, I think the problem is that most people try to hold on to sex before they can get the truth. Sometimes you have to let sex happen first, so you can start talking to that person up front. You know.
Wow.
So, and I think women tend to do that the most. Most black women tend to, according to my research, black women hold on to sex a little bit longer than the average person, and that in itself prevent the relationship from growing like it's supposed to. Because if it becomes all about sex, then let's have sex then. But if you have sex with a person immediately and treat it as insignificant as it really is, then you can have that real conversation. Okay? Because sex, after you have sex with a person, the conversation changes immediately. You ever notice that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's never a way around it. That's what I think. That's what people don't realize. Like once you have those sexual relations with someone, it changes the dynamic.
Exactly. So let's have that. So let's have that first. And it's not a one night stand. No, I have sex on the first day. I just met you. You can have sex right there because that's how men think. Because we're looking at the bigger picture. We're not looking at, oh, what's going to happen if you're going to take me to, you're going to drop me. Don't worry about that. I'm going to put you in an Uber if I don't like you. And if I like you, I drive you home. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it's going to work out. So the idea is that you do it that way. Either way, it works itself. Now you can have the conversation. What you all about? Oh, wow, okay. And then you start to build. You take it day by day and how they fit. Because you got to remember, people use people. People use them for good or they use them for bad. And you got to be mindful of that also. And that's why I mean that when you starting out young and broke and don't have a lot to offer, that's when you can meet your sunshine right there. You meet your sunshine when you broke and don't got a lot to offer right there.
Because you have to deal, because in that way you have to deal with the person. You have to deal with this. Y'all both in the same situation.
Exactly.
So it's like we both trying. Well, it will show if we're both striving toward.
It'd be nice if you can, but if you ain't got the dough and you still trying to you're 30 credits away from your degree.
Yeah.
You can't hide that.
Right. True.
You got 30 credits away. Once you got your degree, then I can get me a job working in some other place until I start my planning to get up out of there, move around. That's it. It's a tough situation, but those are the tools that a young person can use to help them move in a relationship. And I think I know it's all about beauty and sex. No, I think we put too much emphasis on that in America. Other countries don't function that way.
Yeah.
But if we can get beyond that, then we can start building a relationship.
Indeed.
It's been great talking to you, buddy.
Yes, indeed, sir. Thank you, Professor Kelly, entrepreneur, professor, philosopher, husband.
Just a dude around the way. Let me stop.
Right. So no, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight. You know what I'm saying? And family, thank you for allowing us to speak with you. Again, if you have any comments, you don't have to agree with everything we said on here. This is just our opinion. This is just us talking from our experiences, from our insight. So don't take anything personal, but definitely put your comments down below. If you have something to share with us, you have something to add on to what we're saying, or you disagree or agree to disagree, whatever the case may be, we're open to that. That is fine. All right. We're not saying our word is law. We're just saying that this is from our experience and our perspective, how we feel about, again, the nuclear family, heterosexual families, especially in the Black community. All right. Thank you for your time. Like, share, subscribe with this video, this channel, my channel. Again, coming forth, we have some more episodes coming forth from some other people I'm talking with. We may do another conversation with Professor Kelly. I don't know. It depends on this time. But thank you all, and be peace. Stay blessed. And I'll holler at y'all soon. Peace.
God bless.
Bless.